Hey y'all, just wanted to share this simple Trampletoe tech for Flicker Strike from a mid-gamer SSF perspective. This ain't a build guide, check out any of the links below, just some thoughts and ideas. I'm assuming you know the basics, so TLDR, Trampletoes dropped for me randomly a while ago, and I put them on for funsies, and instantly it was a game changer for AOE clear with my decent mid-gear. For example, this T3 Zesh run, I can finally mostly keep up with the edge, whereas before I almost ran out of time. In this league, with the new sprint mechanic, the downside of low base move speed is mostly a non-factor, so maybe this will help someone out. What with the latest 0.3 patch? No harm in trying, especially if you're trade league. Last I checked, it was only 1x. Now, obviously, lots of builds use Trampletoes, like I think Jorgen fancies them a lot, and Localholt's recent build uses them, and they're even discussed specifically in the latest Path to Exile podcast, episode 10, around 1 hour and 30 minutes, but correct me if I'm wrong, I surveyed a bunch of YouTube Flickr vids linked in the description, and none of them seem to be using Trampletoes. So, also when I checked POE Ninja, there were a whopping 9 other Flickr builds using them. Mine is the one that starts TZ. Essentially, Trampletoes addresses the issue with Flickr this league of having a limited number of hits. Last league in 0.2, you could invest in chance to not remove charges with quality and ruins. Like I recall an Alf Hednar video getting around 80%, so you could basically flicker forever. But if you can only do 7 or 8 or 9 hits, you don't want to waste them all on white mobs. Although the top end of flicker was nerfed this league, quality of life improved a lot, since it's easier to hit crit cap, and support gems like Ancestral Call 2 make a big difference. Now, obviously, you see people using heralds for AOE, but it's a little more gear dependent. This isn't a problem for streamers or blasters or trade league, but for me as a SSF mid-gamer, for example, I can't always get the right elemental damage types on my rings and gloves. Like last league, I could never get the Ice and Herald chaining to work. Ice and Lightning Herald chain to work. Now I know, again, there's Herald chaining happening, but surely it'll get nerfed. Whereas Trampletoes is just a straight 30% overkill damage. I suppose there's some power threshold to reach in order for overkill damage to be sufficient for knocking out white mobs, but at least with my mid gear running non-min-maxed, non-super juice T15s, it made a huge difference. Before jumping into a T15 play-by-play, this T3 Zesh footage is just to show how mid my gear was. I mean, now after more incremental investment, I can finally one-flicker him, but back then, one flicker was about 60% health, then I just stubbornly whacked him to death, hilariously, while tanking 5 of his hand slams. Though in other cases, I cheese him by running away far enough until my skills revive for more power charges. At this point, I've mostly reached that feeling like a god status, much earlier this league than the past due to all the crafting changes. You can check out my previous vid for some mid-gamer armor crafting tips. For some testing, I tried running this T15 with Vids, and I really like using the UV breach tablet, as it keeps the breach open for slower gaming as we do. Variations of Trampletoe and Herald of Thunder versus no AOE. I'll jump to the footage on Call of the Play-by-Play. Trampletoe with Ancestral Call 2 really shines in super high density, though admittedly with few mobs it has that first world problem of killing too fast, so Flicker can't jump you. The way I play is basically to generally sprint between packs and just spam click flicker because the skill auto-targets mobs in range. Also, with Profane Ritual stuck into Reaper's Invocation, I just hold down my D key because I play mouse, not WASD, and it constantly autocasts. Then comes a meaningful gameplay part because you really gotta pay attention while flickering, and every time it hits, I'm planning which way I will dodge roll out. This is also usually just enough time for power charges to fly to you. This is the basic survival mechanism, and of the few times I remember dying, usually it's when I stopped respecting the game and I was too lazy to dodge roll. Then, like that breach purple laser guy snipes me from off screen. Or one time Flicker deposited me next to an invincibility shrine, then I couldn't kill anything, and I couldn't click the shrine, so I just got crushed in the mob. So jumping ahead, I swap off Trampletoes and use just Herald of Thunder for comparison. Jumping ahead again, it's okay on lower density, but once you hit bigger, juicier packs, I started to feel overwhelmed, though it's still manageable. Another quality of life upgrade this league is GGG really buffed Reaper's Invocation, So now it's only 30 spirit instead of 60 last league, and energy generation went from 50 per enemy power to 30, so it's pretty easy to sustain power charges. Take some skill and gameplay experience to get the rhythm of power charges flying at you, because Flicker definitely feels bad with no charges. And jumping ahead again, I put back on Trampletoes and turned off Herald of Thunder, and instantly it felt much cleaner. Flicker is nice for a SSF mid-gamer, because power scaling is very straightforward with a decent weapon. Just take crit and power charges in the passive tree, while you can approximate the speed of much more expensive high move speed builds. I tried no Trampletoes or Hell Thunder, and again, on lower density it's okay, but I really felt overwhelmed in high density. It's a very big difference. You can see without AOE, Flicker sometimes will just tap individual monsters in pack, but in big packs this really won't cut it and you'll get overwhelmed. And finally, I put back on Trampletoes and Herald of Thunder, and it's all good. Anyway, that's all for now. Happy hunting. Peace out.